Okay, so I think this looks great. We'll run our tests as usual. Nice and fast. I really love the SQLite in-memory database. So fast to set up and tear down. So that's basically instant. Now we will kick off the actual pipeline. I'll use the verbose parameter again. So I haven't run it since yesterday, which means there should be a whole bunch of new articles to fetch. Fetching is pretty quick, but then we need to do all the triage, of course. Yep, so we fetched 1,640 were new. So now we're triaging those. You know the drill by now. That's actually very, very quick with our parallel processing and batching combined. Okay, now we got an error. Let's see what's happening here. Okay, so it looks like it actually started with extraction. And then we got this error message here. Event loop is closed. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to be lazy and take all of this, copy it, and just hand it over to Claude. So we'll see what it says. It's possible that the LLM maybe just returned an error and we don't have super robust error handling yet. So that might be something that we need to add. In fact, for a robust pipeline, you probably do want to do that. Add some retries, maybe add some exponential backoff. That's all pretty straightforward to do if necessary. But let's see what Claude actually says is the problem here. Okay, looks like Claude figured it out. So it says root cause each batch step.process called async.io.run, which creates and destroys an event loop. The Google API client's HTTPX connections from triages loop survived its closure, and when extraction tried to clean up those connections on a new loop, it hit runtime error, event loop is closed. Fix, made the pipeline async end-to-end with a single event loop. And then it describes the changes it had to implement. Got it. Let's run the tests first. Make sure, it says the tests pass, but always good to make sure. And now we're going to run. Yeah, that's fine. We'll just kick it off. What I was thinking about is in my pipeline, one thing I implemented is a resume parameter that basically allows me to resume a previous run and essentially look up the last run, the most recent run in the database, figure out what the last step was that was completed. That's the main reason why we are persisting that in the first place. And then basically resumes with the next logical step. That hasn't really mattered too much so far because everything we've done is basically look up any pending data in the database, process it in some way, and then save it, right? With the remaining steps, they're kind of more sequential. So if something fails at the synthesis or deep dive, we don't necessarily always want to have to fetch all of our news again and all of that. So we might do that right after this. Let's first make sure that this actually works now, and then maybe we can add the resume option as a quick improvement. See, this is what I mean. So just to test that the extraction step works now, we actually have to go through the whole fetch again. Everything else should be quick because it'll notice that there aren't really any new articles. Yeah, we have one new article. So it wasn't really too much of a delay, but it's still something we can save. We can also save those API call costs and things like that. So it's running the extraction. There's a few more batches to do, so this might still take a little bit of time. Extraction is definitely our slowest part of the application. All right, so extraction finished successfully this time, and it started with synthesis. Now we see another error. And what it says is no such table candidates. I actually wonder if it simply didn't apply the Alembic migration. Usually it runs it for us, but I have a feeling that it didn't do that. So let's actually start a separate shell here. The way we can check this is, if I remember correctly, this is the right syntax. So uv run alembic, that's how we run any of the alembic commands. They have a help option as well, but should check whether there are any pending migrations. And sure enough, target database is not up to date. So we'll do Alembic upgrade head, I think is the right syntax here. Yep, so now it added the candidates table. So I guess a good reminder to always double check after each step that it actually applied the new migration. All right, so we're going to rerun this. It'll fetch everything again until we implement that resume improvement. But triage and extractions should be very straightforward, should be very fast now because there shouldn't be anything new to process. Yeah, so there are 3 new articles. So fetch and extraction should be super quick. Now it's running synthesis. Okay, there we go. It finished successfully, gave us 3 candidates, printed some nice summary here. So we have a meta trend, supply chain geopolitical risk intelligence with a score of 90, friction point, LLM cost control for startups, and rabbit hole AI-powered Pokemon card valuator. Oh, that sounds interesting. So perfect. Let's take a quick look in the database to look at these in a bit more detail. So we'll open up our candidates. Okay, so the themes, I think the themes are probably what it printed out on the command line. Okay, and then we have why now. So for the Pokemon game, collectible card games have seen a massive resurgence, becoming the top toy property globally and the most purchased secondhand category for Gen Z. And then we have an article ID here as a citation. Remember, we specifically suggested that why now should tie these back to the sources that we pass in. And that'll actually later allow the deep dive and the writer steps to add proper article links. So that's great. The overwhelming complexity for parents entering this market is a clear pain point. Accessible AI image recognition makes it feasible for a solo developer to build a tool that provides immediate clarity and value to this passionate and growing audience. That's great. And yeah, the score, the rabbit hole ideas tend to score a little bit lower. And that makes sense because by definition, they're more niche. So the market for these isn't as big, but at the same time, at least for my newsletter, I really enjoy reading about these rabbit hole ideas, and they might inspire other ideas of your own as well. And so to mix things up, I think it's nice to have a mix of sort of more boring but profitable ideas and maybe something a little bit more exciting. So let's look at some of these other fields. The one-liner, a mobile app that uses AI to instantly identify and value Pokemon cards, helping parents and new collectors navigate the complex market. Target customer is parents of children getting into Pokemon, casual collectors, and Gen Z individuals active in the secondhand collectibles market. Problem to solve. Oh, so apparently the Pokemon card market is a 2.5 billion industry. I'm guessing it probably got this from one of the market facts that we extracted. Parents and collectors find it overwhelming, facing a massive price range, $1 to 6 figures, complex variations, risk of counterfeits. Okay, what else do we have? Solution overview. So a web or mobile app where a user takes a photo of a Pokemon card. The app uses a fine-tuned computer vision model to identify the specific card, its set, and its number. It then scrapes real-time pricing data from major online marketplaces like eBay and TCG Player to provide an estimated market value based on recent sales. The app could also serve as a collection management tool to track a portfolio's total value. That actually sounds pretty viable to me. And I think, yeah, so supporting article IDs. So there's just the one. So that's okay. Let's look at some of the others, not in detail. Actually, I'm curious about the supporting article IDs. Okay, so this one has 3. And, that probably makes sense as well. The rabbit hole ideas by definition are going to be more niche. We don't expect to see a whole bunch of news articles typically pointing to the same one. So I think there it's reasonable if there's only a single one. But in general, we're hoping for ideas that have a couple article sources. That kind of indicates that there really is something there, right? A pattern, a market. Wow, this one has 5 supporting article IDs. What is this one? This is the Supply Chain Geopolitical Risk Intelligence. So the one-liner here, an AI-powered dashboard that provides real-time geopolitical risk scores for critical supply chain materials. Interesting. So the target customer here would be supply chain and procurement managers at mid-sized manufacturing, electronics, or industrial goods companies. All right, I could see that. Problem to solve. All right, so I won't go through these in detail, but actually this seems to be working really well. Yeah, so if you think about it, we've done a lot of pre-work to extract signals from the news, but then actually synthesizing the concrete ideas was pretty straightforward on top of that. So this came together pretty quickly.